them. So Huffy is right behind. It goes over towards the barrier. The car is slewed around into the middle of the circuit. The front of the car pretty much destroyed for the champion.
Like a Hellcat.
Cars is what we are about to enjoy, and a very, very impressive field. TCR cars, TCR China, this celebration of excellence, a showcase of excellence of motorsport in this part of the world. One British driver on pole position in the MG. Now, when did Rob Huff get the opportunity to test the MG ahead of this weekend? Answer, none. The first time he drove it was on Friday here at Macau and finished up the first free practice session in 3rd place. Second free practice, quickest. He is known for ultimate commitment around Macau. Even confessed after taking pole position last year for the Macau gear race that the commitment required around the gear circuit almost scares him a little bit, but it just invites him to go quicker and quicker. Tiny, tiny improvements lap after lap. But if you watch Rob Huff around the circuit, you can tell the commitment that Rob drives with. It's quite interesting actually. We were talking about Rob yesterday and mentioned that even when he started his touring car career in World Touring Cars, he was still on his weekends off, and when calendars allowed, going out and racing his little MGB and going along Dad racing, going with his father Peter. He's probably his biggest supporter, I would say, ever in his career. And somebody posted, after hearing this, posted a picture of that little MG last night, apparently up for sale. Bit of Huffy history. So, leading the cars around on their formation lap, number 10. A number chosen wisely for this weekend, knowing full well that the primary commitment for this weekend was to secure a record 10th win at Macau. Well, it was done, but there is now potentially a question mark as whether a qualification race is an official win. It's not really, so still on 9 official gear wins, so he's got to do it all again. Ma Xinhua, who is a very, very impressive driver, known around the world, will want to be doing something about that, having claimed the title in the championship battle. The former HRT Caterham F1 test driver will maybe afford himself a little more attack on Rob today. So we'll wait and see. It's fascinating, isn't it, to work out how this is going to play out. Felipe de Souza in the background finished yesterday in 3rd place. The local driver, Macau driver, in the number 26 car, Felipe de Souza. TO Motorsport entered Audi RS3. They all weave the cars now. Well, not all of them, most of them weave the cars to get a bit of heat into the tyres. But I, for one, absolutely fascinated to see if we see a little more maximum attack from Ma Xinhua today. Now, the worry of points is not an issue. It can be about attacking the Macau Grand Prix circuit. Rob Huff brings the number 10 MG up towards the grid. Last minute, will pull to one side and form up on pole position. Does so now. And Ma Xinhua alongside. The rest of the field will all line up. Avoid pulling off onto track right, screen left to take their places up so they don't pick up all the little bobbles of rubber, the marbles that appear offline on the circuit. That's why they stick to the left-hand side and then peel off at the last minute. But I think the grid pretty much all in place. Pick your favourites, everybody. This is the Macau Gear Race. If you're a fan of touring cars, it's one of the greatest touring car races in the world. And the Macau Gear Race, potentially, if it goes the way of Rob Huff, he will officially become the most winning driver at Macau with 10 race wins to his credit. Is this going to be the race that he's able to achieve that? The green flag is waved at the tail of the field. The engine notes rise. 5 lights come on. Wait for them to come out. Who's going to get the best of starts? Is it going to be Rob Huff? I think a very good start from a little way back from the 29 car of Sonny Wong. But are they all going to get safely through the first turn? We hope so. Keep an eye in the background to make sure that everybody is safely through. It's quite a feat to get everybody safely through. Well, Marcin Boire has got the best of the starts. They head through Mandarin on the run down towards Lisboa. 12-lap race it is. Marcin Boire is leading from Rob Huff. Third place, it's the number 36 car of Jianju Chang in the second of those Lincoln Co's. Very important manufacturer of cars in the region, and it was almost inevitable, wasn't it? The number 16 car is backed into the tyre barrier at Lisboa. Everybody else sorting themselves out when you've got this many touring cars, and there are a lot of them, 33 in total. It was almost inevitable that someone would have a problem down at Lisboa. Already the car had gone wrong, a light kiss of the barrier, and the other cars that were involved were merely stopping in avoidance, so they didn't collect that car. So that's not a problem. Pretty sure that will be rectified by the time the race leader gets round towards the end of the lap and the start of the next lap. Through police comes the race leader, number 55, Marcin Boire. What is Rob Huff going to do about this? I did wonder if the attack was going to be a little bit more today from the Lincoln Co driver. It was a great start, and there are, well, the MG is the meat in the Lincoln Co sandwich at the moment, because it's Marcin Boire who leads. Rob Huff in second as they head their way down from Melco. What can Huffy do? First time in the car this weekend, and at the moment is in second position up towards the final turn, the completion of lap number 1. Pretty sure Lisboa will be clear by now. Yeah, different line turning into our bend for Rob Huff. Does that give him the it really does. It gives him a great exit through our bend. Interesting. And having a look at Marcin Boire, Marcin Boire is going to be a lot more difficult today, isn't he? Rob Huff right on his tail as they go on the run down towards Lisboa. Jinx out to the left-hand side of the circuit. And a lovely picture of the guardrail there. A nice... Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. Marcin Boire getting it all wrong, waiting to see exactly what happened there. So the camera angle all of a sudden became the fencing, and was that as a result of the very heavy hit for Marcin Boire, who was leading the race, but we haven't seen what happened. We haven't seen exactly what happened between the two of them. So Huffy is right behind. It goes over towards the barrier. The car is slewed around into the middle of the circuit. The front of the car pretty much destroyed for the champion. The car finishes up in the middle of the circuit. The two of them were racing very, very close together. And a big, big accident for Ma Xinhua. Rob Huff now leads the field as we have the safety car indication, but from the camera angles that we have seen, we can't be absolutely sure the reason for the accident for Ma Xinhua. Safety car indicated. A little bit of a mark on the front of the number 10 car through Moorish towards Donna Maria, and a very, very sad sight to see Ma Xinhua, the car in the centre of the circuit. A very, very heavy hit into the barrier. A lot of energy being dissipated, and a recovery required, which is why the safety car is deployed. So, a dramatic opening lap and the start of the second lap for the Macau gear race. Weaving the cars from side to side, safety car deployed, and Rob Huff chasing officially his 10th win here at the gear circuit in Macau. It was quite an attack on the start. Ma Xinhua getting the best of the starts, getting ahead of Rob Huff, the two of them. I was just interested as well, the line taken on the exits of our bed by Rob Huff gave him such a good pull out of the corner to get right on the back of Ma Xinhua, and the Lincoln Co. looking very damaged at the front. Unfortunately, the lifting equipment comes into place. Just have a look. I'll see just a little touch between the two of them with a question mark at the end of it, and that little mark on the right front of Rob's bodywork. And that was the really scary moment when the car came back into the centre of the circuit. Everybody else had to avoid the car, so there is only room just to squeeze through on the left-hand side. And I have a feeling that was why we had a view of the fencing just heading up to seeing that incident, because I think it all became a little bit surprising as that dramatic story unfolded between the top two. Rob Huff leading the field around behind the BMW safety car. The 2 is the safety car this year for the Macau Grand Prix. And the second place car, with the demise of the 55 car of Ma Xinhua, is the 36 Lincoln Co. Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co. Motorsports car of Zhongju Chang. So, safety car and recoveries required yesterday. A red flag now being displayed. So, the race being suspended with a red flag. And you can only imagine it's because there is still a lot of work to do for the recovery, and there is very little space to squeeze the cars through when they're working on the area where Ma Xinhua's car has come to a stop. So, decision being taken in race control. There's only one thing for it, and that's to pop the red flag out. 10 laps yet to go. and we'll have a resumption, presumably behind the safety car, and we'll get the race back underway. So, drama in the Macau gear race, and two stories of the weekend. One is Rob Huff, the King of Macau, chasing his 10th title at Macau. The other, the claiming of a championship title for Ma Qinghua, and the two of them battling away for the lead of the race at the start of lap 2. Extremely close together, and the results, Ma Qinghua, a very heavy impacts on the barriers. The car pretty much destroyed at the front of the car, and a red flag is required to get the race resumed once the recovery is complete. Just on the inside of Donna Maria there, you see a couple of locals enjoying the shade. Opportunity to get out of the sunshine today here in Macau. The weather climbing, ever climbing, closer to 30 degrees, 27 now. And the weather forecast was that there would be a climb up towards the 30s today. It's pretty warm, parasols and fans all being used in the grandstands. The official BMW vehicles, the medical and official vehicles, all supplied by BMW this weekend. Safety car is there to pick up the field as they are single file, about to be led into pit lane, is my understanding. Race suspended with the red flag, all cars to pit lane. So everyone makes their way off the circuit here at Macau. Still such an interesting picture when you see in the background the normal life just the other side of the barriers continuing. The world goes on. Cars, taxis, people, carriers, motorcycles, all going about their daily business, despite one of the finest motorsport events in the world taking place just a couple of feet to their right. So from what I can see, Ma Qinghua was hoping to get a lift back. Officially, a 10th race win here at Macau. That would be a record. And just a quick wave for the camera as he clambers aboard the, getting ready for that to happen. Well done. Well done to all of them. And we are now ready. See, just at the top of the left-hand side of your screen, you saw there the BMW, the 2 safety car, ready to lead the field around to get racing back underway at Macau. Engines fire up. Distinctive tone of the touring cars. We're good to go. Rob Huff leads the cars out of pit lane. Behind the safety car they will go. The work of getting the tyres back up to temperature will come now, and as they head down pit lane in the quite brilliant sunshine here at Macau today, very hot day indeed, and those looking on from the grandstands trying to keep themselves cool, ready for the action. Parasols and umbrellas, always an essential bit of equipment when you come to Macau to spectate. those are around the world that are currently coming into the winter months might look rather longingly at that sunshine. I can guarantee you, jolly warm at Macau when the sun shines. Looks down on the splendid gear circuit, the 3.8 mile circuit here in Macau. So race resumption under safety car. 10 laps to go in a 12-lap race. Race required a red flag because the top two running so very, very close together. Rob Huff and Marcin Khoa. Rob Huff chasing the record-breaking 10 race wins at Macau. And Marcin Khoa having claimed the TCR China title after the penultimate race yesterday in the championship, and Marcin Khoa ending up with the car hitting the safety barrier violently, causing a lot of damage to the front of the car. Heavy impact, and then the marshals had to go into operation to clear the circuit, repair the safety cells in order to get racing back on the way, which it is now behind the safety car. 10 laps remain, but the important job on this lap is to get the tyres up to temperature, get them ready to race here at Macau. Just coming up to 10 minutes to 1 local time in Macau, heading through the left-handed bend at Donna Maria up towards the Macau hairpin, actually down the hill to the Macau hairpin. You can see the declination as they go down from the top of the circuit on the decline, weave the cars, get heat into the tyres, get the brakes working as well on a very warm day at Macau. Final part of the circuit now. If the safety car driver and observer are happy that the field is ready to go racing, then it will peel off into pit lane and release the field to resume the Macau gear race for 2020. Nice wide bit of the circuit on the final run down towards our bend. Last opportunity to get the tyres up to working temperature, and the final turn with Rob Huff gets the race back underway. Safety car back into pit lane and racing resumes, and the green flag waved after the safety car board to say we are now back racing with 9 laps to go, and always the advantage held by the first car to go. But Rob Huff really did get a flyer on the restart and has a goodly advantage now over the second place car, number 36 car of Zhangju Chang in the Lincoln Co. Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co. car, who in turn is having to do a bit of defensive work there from the MGX power car, the Hong Kong driver Yang Cherkwai. On the mountain section they are, and somebody else has come to grief, and that's the car of Ryan Wong, and quite a bit of bodywork from the front of the car, driven over by the rest of the field. Oh dear, second day running that we've had a race that you just can't get your teeth into, and quite a heavy impact once again for the front of the car. So recovery will most certainly be required for that car, and we'll see as Rob Huff leads through Police onto Moorish Corner what the word from race control is going to be about the recovery of that car of Ryan Wong. Rob Huff through Donna Maria up towards the Macau hairpin, single file throughout the race weekend. Macau field thread their way through, and Rob Huff already with a commanding gap at the front of the field. Second place 36 Lincoln Co of Jiangju Chang. And what is going to be the word of race control about the recovery? Is it going to be completed just under local yellow flags? Potentially quite possible. If the car can be lifted, there are cranes right the way around strategic parts of the circuit to lift the cars out of the way, and it might be that they've been able to clear that car up before the race leaders get down there, in which case the almost 2-second advantage that Rob Huff has, the cars being indicated by the arrow board to keep to one side. They have got the car out the way, and they've dressed the fluid on the circuit as well. So, and yet another accident. So that's Yang Shi in the number 3 car, and this really is becoming quite a challenging race for the touring cars. Number 3 car of Yang Shi, it's almost like deja vu, and then the car collected by Ui Fan in the 326 Racing Team car. So almost the Marchinquois accident from before, and unfortunately the collection of the incident by Ui Fan. So cars 3 and 5 involved in that incident. And a grave disappointment for this Macau gear race, in as much as we once again have a safety car intervention to deal with the cars on circuit, but it's a challenge for the drivers, get the chance to get into the groove of a lap around the Macau circuit. Can't get into the flow of a racing lap. Remember some years ago we had a similar situation where TCR cars were involved in a number of incidents here at Macau, and it was simply impossible to get any kind of flow to the race. So that's the 3 car of Yang Shi, and the inevitable collection by Ui Fan. And what a great shame. Lots and lots of bodywork and debris to be dealt with. 2 cars to be dealt with as well, which can very often here at Macau be dealt with very quickly and effectively. And once again, it's back to safety car and trying to keep heat in the tyres. The medical cars, the most important thing that they'll be dealing with is that after a heavy incident like we've just seen, that the drivers are okay and the medics are in place. Also, opportunity for, well, they were able to do a a quick fix, if you like, to deal with the fluid that was down on the circuit. Now they can do a slightly more exhaustive repair down there on the tarmac. But with the medical team, the doctors on course, tending to Yang Shi and Ui Fan, the cars all told quite clearly to come past at a really quite sedate pace past the unfortunate and rather violent incident that we've just seen between Yang Shi and Ui Fan. Red and yellow flag indicating there is a slippery surface down there at Lisboa. So the reason why. So Mandarin is an exceptionally fast corner, so accidents that happen at Mandarin are inevitably normally pretty violent accidents. Under safety car again we are for the Macau gear race in 2020. The 12-lap race has got 7 laps to go. Behind the safety car we will continue to tick off laps in the race as the medical team are dealing with the very important operation of tending to Yang Shi and Ui Fan. Obviously, we hope they're both absolutely okay. They've got the best medical team they could ask for, tending to them down on the circuit. And we'll make sure the drivers are okay before the recovery of the cars can be, that process can be started, and
like a Hellcat.